Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Ben Satchwell, Head of Capabilities here at Acorn, and it's great to be here at the AHRI National Conference, and I'm looking forward to sharing how capability frameworks can become the bridge between your people strategy and your performance strategy. And for those of you who were present at the fantastic gala dinner last night, as I was, I thank you for making it to one of the first sessions of the day. All right, before we get into the how, I want to share what warrants me being up here to talk to you today about capability. I'm super proud to have the role of Head of Capabilities at Acorn, where I've spent the last 5 years helping organizations embed capability frameworks into real decisions. I've got 19 years of corporate experience across technology, business, and HR. And then, in the spirit of continuous learning post-degree, I've got various certifications from the likes of Stanford, UC Irvine, Rice, Macquarie, etc. I'm an AHRI member as well, and I also facilitate the AHRI course on developing a capability framework, a short course we do sort of 4 times a year. So for me, there is the theory, but I love bringing it to the real world as well. So yeah, that's my passion and that's what I do. But let's also talk about Acorn. So why Acorn? To try and lighten, there's a lot of data out there. I like to pull sentiment straight from good old social media because it's raw, it's unfiltered, and it tells you exactly how people are feeling at work. This is the reality of our employees are living, and we need to design our people strategies for this. So before we talk about frameworks, AI, process, all that good stuff, let's take a look at what our people are actually saying there out in the wild. Now, sometimes the truth is easiest to see in humor. And this is funny because it is painfully familiar. Corporate here dictates that the outcome before the conversation even starts with his performance review. And when that happens, the performance review isn't a dialogue, it's a formality. Next, we look at the human cost. Spending hours on self-evaluation only to get the same blanket result as everyone else. People aren't just frustrated, they're questioning why they should bother at all. Next, we have when the worst year gets the best score. And your performance system then has lost all its credibility. And without credibility, the whole process becomes an exercise in box ticking. Next, we have the same rating, whether you work your heart out or barely lift a finger. And that's the quickest way for me to teach employees there's no link between effort and outcome. And once that belief sets in, engagement plummets. Here's the irony. A leader tries to recognize excellence and the system interprets it as a problem. This is where rigid frameworks backfire and they can actually discourage the behaviors they're meant to promote. 70+ reviews that don't impact anything. That's wasted leadership time, lost trust. If your leaders are feeling like their effort doesn't matter, you can guarantee that that filters straight down into their teams. This leader's point is simple. The system's more about compliance than connection. And when performance reviews are treated like paperwork, they stop being a tool for growth and they become a chore. There's a warning sign your process here is serving the system and not your people. But companies are good at measuring performance, right? So it's not just social media sentiment. We wanted to back this up with hard data. So what we did about that was earlier this year, we ran the 2025 Corporate Performance and Learning Survey. So we had responses from 1,239 professionals across various industries and levels within the people and culture practice. And this gave us a deep look at the state of capability programs today. So I'm just going to quickly unpack that. But what we found was clear. The frustrations that you just saw on social media, they're not outliers, they're patterns. All right, so we didn't just ask people how they feel, we measured it. And the results make it clear. Most organizations have tried to build out these types of capability systems, but very few are actually happy with them. Leaders and employees both see gaps in fairness accuracy and impact. And in some cases, the process is actually doing more harm than good. Here's where it gets really interesting. You got the perception gap. Executives genuinely believe the systems are fair. They think they're effective and even good for well-being. But when you ask the people on the receiving end, the story changes. And it's not just a small difference, it's a gulf. This is why leaders are often blindsided by disengagement. They're looking at the same system, but living two very different realities. This is where the numbers stop being abstract, and start getting really personal. Performance reviews aren't just a process. They create an emotional experience, and for many people, it's not a positive one. Anxiety, frustration, even questioning their own value to the organization. These aren't side effects. They're signals that the system is actively eroding culture. And when more than half believe bias is influencing outcome, trust is gone. Without trust, doesn't matter how well designed your framework is, it will fail in practice. And even when organizations believe the idea of capability frameworks linking it all together, we also then see that the execution often fails. Two sort of places as well, technology and processes. So on the tech side, systems aren't integrated, assessments aren't consistent, and in many cases, there's no central place to manage it all. On the process side, there's no clear way of embedding capabilities in daily work, adoption is patchy, and priorities compete. This isn't about leaders not caring either. It's about building the right infrastructure so the intent actually reaches the front line. So here's the good news. People want better. When asked, the overwhelming majority said that if we measured performance through capabilities, had a centralized index and used AI to support assessments and the process, it would make a real difference. The benefits they're looking for aren't abstract. Better visibility into capabilities, clearer career paths, more engagement, higher productivity. In other words, they're ready to lean in if we give them a system worth believing in. And that's exactly where capability-led design comes in. So after all that data, here's the reality. Corporate learning is frustrating, and the performance reviews for many are pointless. Not because people don't care, but because the two systems are disconnected. One's about developing capability, the other's about purely measuring performance, and they rarely speak to each other. At Acorn, we believe the fix is simple. Simple in concept, powerful in practice. You connect learning and performance in one system. That's why we have a PLMS, which is a performance learning management system, which gives you the tools to develop the capabilities you're measuring, measure the ones you're developing, and as I've just shown the problem so many organizations are wrestling with, they're wrestling with it, so will we. So what I'm going to talk to you about next is we had the same disconnect between learning and performance. We had the same challenges in measurement and making sure trust was bang on, and integration. So what we did was we turned to our own product and used it ourselves. So everything I'm about to show you next is how we use Acorn internally. I want to show you as a live, breathing part of our people strategy. And the reason I'm walking you through it is simple. If it can solve our challenges, it can probably solve yours too. All right. So like most organizations, we started with a fairly traditional people strategy. You see on the screen there, we got our 5 pillars covering everything from talent attraction to workforce planning that's underpinned by DEI, culture. Each pillar, obviously, important on its own, but here's the problem. In most organizations, they operate in silos. So recruitment runs on one set of data, performance on another, learning and well-being somewhere else entirely. And the result, effort is high, but impact is fragmented. So we flipped the model. Instead of 5 separate streams, what we did was we built them on a single foundation of capabilities. So that means whether we're hiring, developing, engaging, rewarding, or planning our workforce, we're working from the same shared language of what good looks like and how that is measured. It's not just more joined up, it's more consistent, more transparent, and it actually helps people see how their growth links directly to business outcomes. And because it's all powered by Acorn's, our own capabilities platform, we're living proof that the system we sell can underpin an entire people strategy. At Acorn, we've got a simple mantra for how we think about capability-led work. We call it role, goal, clarity. So it starts with role. You can't perform, develop, or be measured fairly if you're not crystal clear on what your role actually is. That means more than a job title. It's the specific responsibilities, expectations, and capabilities you're here to bring to life. When role clarity is missing, everything else in the people strategy is built on sort of shaky ground. But when it's nailed, it becomes the anchor for performance conversations, development priorities, and career growth. Here's a quick snapshot of our organization. We're now up to 70 people. That's across Australia and North America. We're actually on track to reach 120 soon, sort of next 6 to 12 months, which you'd appreciate is pretty significant. And then we'll be operating in Europe shortly to serve our customers there. Now, for each distinct role, we needed a capability framework. Right, starting from scratch, that's a big feat, right? So to speed things up, we have our own AI capability assistant, which you can see working on the screen right now. You can even try yourself. So that's available for free on our website. You simply put in your organization and a job role, then the AI assistant gets to work from there. So that's how we did that with scale. So here's an example of what the output looks like. So for every role, we lock in 5 key capabilities, each with clear descriptions across proficiency levels, beginner through to master. And this means everyone has a shared understanding of what that success looks like, regardless of the role they're in. It also gives managers and employees a common language for development conversations and ensures consistency across our business. Next, this output is imported into Acorn. So this is a screenshot of what an employee sees for their own capabilities and proficiency levels that are assigned to them in their user profile. And then once they have these assigned capabilities and they've got that clarity, we're now able to send them a capability assessment. We do our assessments every 6 weeks, and what you're seeing on the screen, a clip of what the users see in their results. So all of this is super transparent to drive a development conversation informed with data. Once these assessments are done, development conversations are had. Next is to build out their development plan. So a development plan in Acorn is done based on the capabilities the individual is working on. In Acorn, all content is mapped to capabilities. So rather than a team member going and get lost in a big catalog, when they build out a development plan, they're recommended various different types of content aligned to that capability that will support them in their efforts. And it's not just e-learning, right? We know that many types of learning change behavior. Okay. Said role, next is goal. In our capability-led system, goals are on a separate list. They're the operationalization of the role. At Acorn, we drive goal clarity through our Momentum product. So every fortnight, we run structured one-on-ones with our people. So before each session, employees complete a performance pulse, a short, focused set of questions on progress, challenges, how we support their needs. And this ensures that conversations aren't just reactive, they're purposeful, grounded in the work, and centered on moving towards clear, agreed goals. It's a proactive rhythm that keeps performance on track and removes ambiguity about priorities. So a bit more on what the rhythm of the conversations look like across the year at Acorn. So every 2 weeks, I mentioned there, the managers, employees have the short, focused, one-on-one conversation using our 4 core questions. So this keeps performance feedback fresh and relevant. Then I mentioned every 6 weeks, that conversation shifts to the capability lens. So we'll sit down for a one-on-one capability review based on the assessment. How are things tracking? What are the development areas? What's needed to progress in that capability uplift? Once a quarter, we take a step back, more in-depth review, reflecting on the quarter just gone, aligning on what's most important to the quarter ahead. That gets us into July and August, the period we're just coming to the end of. We bring it all together in our annual review. So this is where we benchmark salaries, confirm promotions, and make any adjustments so that new salaries and promotions take effect from September 1. And then each of these touch points, as you can see, builds on the last. Meaning by the time we reach the annual review, nothing is a surprise, and the decisions are backed by a year of meaningful conversations. All right, now going back to our people strategy that I showed you before, I'm going to zoom out and take a look at recruitment on the left here. On the screen is how we use capabilities in hiring. On the left is our awesome people and ops leader posting a role on LinkedIn with the capabilities front and center. Next to that is a job ad showing the capabilities and the expected level. So really working it across the strategy. Okay, next we'll quickly look at strategic workforce planning. So for this, we run capability gap analysis based on the capability assessments by the teams to identify priorities, basically at the capability level. As well as using them at the user level, we do this so that we can identify things like emerging leaders, succession planning, and in a bigger business, we would do talent mobility. All right, quick zooming back out now, and we can look at engagement and well-being component. So another advantage of embedding capabilities into our process is meeting our work health and safety obligations. So as we all know, under WHS laws, employers, we must eliminate or minimize psychosocial hazards. So Safe Work Australia has 14 key hazards, 3 of which can be directly addressed through effective capability management. So if you go on the site, they're the 3 that you want to look for are lack of role clarity, job demands, and poor support. By clearly defining capabilities and expectations, we help manage these risks and create a safer and healthier workplace. I want to leave you with this. Performance conversations can be so much better. Whether it's removing bias, setting clear expectations, or making feedback a regular thing, the fixes are simple and powerful. It's all about clarity, consistency, and connection. Before I go, I want to give you a couple of sets of free tools that you can get started on straight away. The first one is our People Strategy Toolkit. This includes a guide on how capabilities can be applied across your entire people strategy, from hiring and performance to engagement, reward, workforce planning. You'll also get on the right there an implementation plan that walks you through rolling this out step by step. So you can use this Acorn customer or not. So that's how we've designed it. You can download it or you can come see us at the booth to come and get a copy and we can give that to you. And then the second toolkit is about AI and how we speed things up. So this includes our AI-driven capability framework builder on the left there. And then on the right is our capability-led job description builder that will link your job ads directly to your framework or your position descriptions. Thank you all for your time. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can reach me at the email there, ben.satchwell@acorn.works.